Hey everyone, I'm here with a quick video on Diddy and the jury sheet that they had to check off to determine what counts that Diddy was charged with during his trial. Were they in agreement to say guilty or not guilty? So TMZ got a hold of that sheet. Let me go ahead and share a screen so we can get right into this. So Diddy trial C verdict sheet. Prosecutors lose by nearly a clean sweep. So what they're pretty much saying is that uh, by a landslide, unfortunately for the prosecution, they pretty much lost on the major charges, even though, the prosecution, this Southern District of New York, is known for just having a high conviction rate. And I think that the prosecutors, the six ladies, they thought this was going to be a slam dunk. And I think that they should have worked differently. I won't say harder because just because you lost didn't mean you didn't work hard. They should have worked differently to prove the charges that they brought against them. So count one, racketeering. How do you find the defendant? They checked off not guilty. So once they checked off not guilty, it was no need to go through these other predicate, what they like to call them, acts. So it was no need for them to address kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, trafficking, involving acts involving transportation for purposes of having relations with other people, and acts involving drug distribution. Because they said not guilty on that, they didn't have to go through these different acts. Now there are people coming out now saying, oh, I believe when he did this it was witness tampering, but you didn't come to the trial to speak. So that's why all of these, they said they didn't even go through them. They just said, bam, the government didn't prove that. So there's no need for us to go through these other predicate acts to even determine. Okay. And so they said, if and only if you find the defendant guilty of count one, do you have to answer that question in the next question? So they didn't. So they didn't even have to be involved with the rest of that, right? Count two, did you traffic Cassandra Ventura? They said not guilty. Count three, Mann Act transportation for Cassandra Ventura. They said guilty. Count four, did he traffic Jane? They said not guilty. Mann Act for Jane, they said guilty. And this verdict came out on 7/2/2025. And of course, they blurred out the four person's name because they don't want the jurors, unless the jurors themselves decide they want to, speak themselves. They don't want the jurors' information out there. And rightfully so, because this case have had so many people going wild and crazy. God only knows if someone knew who these jurors were, what they might do or say. So here's the verdict sheet returned by jurors in Sean Diddy Combs' federal criminal trial. And you can see the check marks not guilty on trafficking and racketeering charges. Jurors reached their verdict Wednesday morning. That was last Wednesday. Morning last week after a couple of days of deliberations, and they acquitted Diddy on one count of racketeering conspiracy, one count of trafficking of Cassandra Ventura, and one count of trafficking of Jane. Now, many people are upset that people are saying, I wish they would call her by her married name. Well, she just still goes by her stage name, Cassandra Ventura, right? And in addition to that, there are many celebrities who, when they get married, they use their maiden name because that is their stage name versus their married name. So nobody is disrespecting Cassie when they're saying Cassie Ventura, because this is the name that Cassie herself still goes by. She doesn't put on most of her stuff Cassie Fine, okay? Which she could. She has that right. She's married, right? But she does not. So no one's disrespecting her by using Cassandra Ventura because that's what she goes by, right? Wendy Williams did Wendy Williams? Yeah, right. Because Wendy Williams did the same thing, right? Because Wendy Williams is her maiden name, but she was married and she was her last name was really Hunter. But she went by Wendy Williams, and her show said The Wendy Williams Show. So many people do this, and no one's disrespecting Cassandra Cassie by saying Cassie Ventura. So the 12-member jury, 8 men and 4 women, only checked guilty on counts 3 and 5, which are both transportation for the purpose of, relations, aka the Mann Act. As we reported, the jury came back Tuesday and said they had a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts, but were unable to come to a verdict on a RICO charge. The judge told them to keep deliberating. And on Wednesday, they all got on the same page and delivered their verdict. It would be interesting, even though it's none of our business, especially because people would try to come for that person, but it would be interesting to know who was wavering on Tuesday. The verdict was a huge win for Diddy because he avoided a potential life sentence, and was a monumental embarrassment for prosecutors who swung for the fences and whiffled. Diddy faces a potential maximum sentence of 10 years for each of the 2 P convictions, but it's unlikely the judge sentences him to the max. Prosecutors in his defense are divided on sentencing guidelines. His attorneys say sentencing guidelines should start at 21 months, with prosecutors saying the sentencing guidelines should start at 51 months. Now, those are the starting time periods. The judge can go anywhere from the 21 to the 51, all the way up to 10 years for each count. It's going to be interesting to see what the judge comes back with on October 3rd of this year. So Diddy has to wait it out in jail a little bit longer. But fortunately for him, he's not facing a life sentence. But also, if let's just say if the judge comes anywhere near the max, Diddy is 55. 10 years, he would be 65. Not saying what he's going to get. I don't know. I'm not the judge. But let's just say the judge goes 10 years, 5 years for each count. You're talking he'll be 65 when he gets out. Listen, either way, fortunate for him, he doesn't have to spend the rest of his life in prison. Listen, guys, chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the jury, seeing the jury verdict sheet. It's interesting, and I would love to hear from the rest of the jurors. We heard from an alternate has been speaking out, but at the same time, I don't mind. Keep yourself private, because even if you come out and speak your truth, the people are going to scrutinize you, flip you upside down, over, back, drag you by your baby hairs. So keep your privacy. You did your civil duty, and thanks for doing your civil duty. Because honestly, I would not have wanted to been a juror on this jury. So God bless them. Anyway, guys, hit the like button, chat with me in the comments. I will chat back. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.